Hello, families, and welcome back to our Eduversity series where we help expand your perspective with books about diversity and cultural differences. My name is Mrs. Shupak, and today I will be reading the book Kamala and Maya's Big Idea by Mina Harris. This book has helped open my heart and mind by showing me that everyone can make a difference even when they are young. You don't have to wait until you're a grown up to make the community around you a better place, just like Kamala and Maya did. My hope is that you will find your own personal message in this book. I'm very excited to share with you Kamala and Maya's big idea. Let me just share my screen. Kamala and Maya's big idea. You know what should be out there? Kamala asked her sister Maya. Us, said Maya. A slide, said Kamala, and a swing, Maya added. A playground, they shouted together. Kamala and Maya had an idea. It was a very good idea and a very big idea. They were going to need help. Wouldn't it be great to have a playground in the courtyard, Maya said. That does sound nice, Mommy agreed. How could we make that happen? Kamala asked. Well, I suppose the first step would be to ask the landlord, the person who owns the building. So Kamala wrote a letter and Maya drew a picture, and they went to see the landlord to discuss their idea. The landlord thought about it for less than a second. I don't think so. No, that was not the answer they wanted, but they weren't ready to give up. That night, the sisters tried to think of ways to turn a no into a yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed. Yep, to turn a no into a yes. Perfect. They asked the other kids in the building if they wanted a playground in the courtyard. Did they? Of course they did. And they had ideas too. Let's have a teeter totter and a basketball hoop and flowers. So Kamala wrote a longer letter and they went to see the landlord together. Dear landlord, right now the courtyard of our building is empty and no one uses it. If there were swings, kids could fly high. If there was a sandbox, kids could build. If there was a slide, kids could go so far, so fast. Can you build it, please? The landlord thought about it for less than 5 seconds. A project this big is expensive. We don't have the money for that. Do your parents know you're here? This was not the answer they wanted, but Kamala was not ready to give up. If we ask our parents and do it all ourselves, can we fix up the courtyard? The landlord thought about that for a whole 10 seconds. Finally, he shrugged. If you can do it yourselves, sure. This wasn't exactly the answer they wanted, but it was a start. The kids all spoke to their parents about their ideas for the courtyard. They hung up posters and knocked on neighbors' doors, but they got the same answers from everyone. I'm sorry. Wow, that is a big job. Wish I could help, which they knew meant no, no, no. But then Mr. Green stopped to talk. I work construction and I could maybe get some scrap lumber and some sand for a sandbox. Really? Kamala said. Yes, exclaimed Maya. Okay, I'll try. It wasn't a yes, but right now, maybe was the sweetest word they had ever heard. Maybe gave them hope. The next weekend, maybe turned into yes. The kids all helped measure, and Mr. Green cut the boards. Then they sanded and hammered and sanded some more. Then came the actual sand. They were all thanking Mr. Green when Miss Lopez stopped to talk. I work in a garage. Maybe they have an extra tire for a teeter totter. Another maybe. In the weeks that followed, lots of I don't knows turned into maybes and then yeses. This is my favorite line, and you might see this up in my office, and this was always up in my classroom. No one could do everything, but everyone could do something. Think about those words again. I'm going to say it one more time. No one could do everything, but everyone could do something. Look at the way they're all working together. It reminds me of second grade working together to plant the garden. Kamala and Maya wanted everyone to celebrate the new playground, so they made another big poster inviting their neighbors to a potluck party. There were hot dogs and hummus, spicy chicken and potato salad, strawberries and brownies and lemonade. Mrs. Flores set up a sprinkler for the kids to run through. Mr. Green brought the music. Kamala admired the new playground, but she noticed there was still one thing missing. No one knew how to make a slide, but Miss Flores knew where they might buy one. I teach at Emerson Elementary and they are redoing their playground. Maybe we could buy the old slide. This was a different kind of maybe. How can we afford that maybe? But now everyone was trying to find a way to turn that maybe into a yes. These brownies are delicious. Maybe we could have a bake sale. We can all bring toys and books and have a sidewalk sale. No one could do everything, but everyone could contribute something. Think about what that word means too. Everyone could contribute something. Look at their contributions. Someone made lemonade, somebody brought hats and old clothes, and someone's laying it out so nicely. They're all contributing in different ways. What do you think contributing means? Tell somebody at home what you think contributing means. When the slide arrived at last, Maya and Kamala got the first ride. The landlord was impressed. I want to shake your hands, girls, he said. You did a good job. You all did a good job. Kamala and Maya had an idea. It was a very good idea and a very big idea. And with a lot of help, they made it happen. Hooray for Kamala and Maya! Hooray for the Persisters! What's next, Kamala? Kamala, looking up, said, I'm wondering what the view is like from the roof. I love that book. I've enjoyed that book for years since it came out, and I'm so happy to share it with you during Black History Month, which with our first female and African American Vice President, Kamala Harris. It's about her, and her niece wrote this, Mina Harris. So here's a picture of Kamala. This is Kamala, and this is her sister Maya when they were younger. So I want to read you the author's note. Here's the author, Mina Harris. Growing up, I loved hearing stories about and seeing old pictures of my mom, Maya Harris, and aunt Kamala Harris as young girls in the 1970s. There's one picture in particular of my mom and aunt that I love. My mom is the one in the bandana, my aunt in the bell bottom jeans, and they're staring at the camera with fierce determination. They look like they've just conquered the world. That's how I perceived them when I was younger. As I've gotten older, it's only become more true. They would go on to achieve great things, both as public interest lawyers dedicated to improving their communities. They always made sure I knew I could do anything too. A specific anecdote from their childhood always stuck with me, how they worked together to turn the unused courtyard in their apartment building into an area for kids to play. It was an early lesson in the power of organizing and an example of what my grandmother, Shamala Harris, a scientist and civil rights activist, always reminded us. Each of us has a part to play, no matter how small. By the time I had two daughters myself, I knew I had to write a book inspired by that story. This picture book is based on those events, but it incorporates fictional characters and details that draw on my own imaginative interpretation of what happened. I wanted to memorialize it not only for my girls, but also for children across the world. I was so lucky to grow up with such strong female role models, my grandmother, my mother, and my aunt. I hope this book inspires a new generation of activists to know that they can be effective agents of change if they think creatively, engage their communities, and never, ever give up. Thank you so much for listening to that book with me. I have a few questions for you. I actually have 5 questions for you um, to after reading this book. So, the first question I have for you is, and you can answer this to yourself or you can tell someone at home. You can pause the video so that you can think about it for a little while. And I have 5 questions, like I said. The first question has to do with your identity, who you are. When you look out the window in your home, do you ever imagine that something wonderful do you ever imagine that something wonderful and exciting be out there, like Kamala and Maya did about a playground? I used to do that when I was younger. Okay, that's question number one. Question number two is about skills. So this is a skill that you have learned or are learning in ELA. At the end of the book, everyone shouts, "Hooray for the persisters." I want you to think about, what does persist mean? What does persist mean? You may have heard the word persistence. What does that mean? And why did the author spell it per sisters? He did PER-SISTERS. So, or sorry, she did it that way. So I want you to think about why she did that. Per dash sisters. How is that a play on words? Okay, number three, intellectualism. Why did Mina Harris write this book? Why did she want to share the story with children around the world? Think about it. She already answered some of it in the author's note, but I want you to think and explain it in your own words. Okay, the fourth question is about criticality. How do you think this experience of thinking of an idea, persisting to eventually make it a reality, inspired Kamala Harris to achieve all that she has achieved as a political leader? How did this experience of thinking of an idea and persisting to eventually make it a reality inspire Kamala Harris to achieve all that she has achieved as a political leader? As I said, she's the first female vice president and she's the first Black vice president. Okay, the last question is about joy. I love thinking about this. What would you put on a playground that you could design? A slide, swings, a teeter totter, a Spider Man rope, and spinning web like we have at Pan Am? Which elements would you choose and why would you choose those elements? So I want you to think about your playground that you would build if you were like Kamala and Maya. And if you want, you can even draw a picture of it. Thank you so much for listening with me. I hope you enjoyed Kamala and Maya's big idea, and I can't wait to hear about all of your amazing big ideas. Thanks so much for listening, Pan Am readers. Have a wonderful day and happy reading.